At some point, Tiger Woods was the most famous athlete alive, not just in golf. In everything, kids who had never watched a single round of golf knew his name. Brands were throwing hundreds of millions at him. He was on every magazine, every billboard, every screen. He was untouchable. But behind all of that, behind the championships, the Nike deals, the perfect family he was showing the world, there was a completely different life happening, a secret life. And the crazy thing is, it didn't come out slowly. It didn't leak, it exploded. One night, one car crash, one driveway, and suddenly everything Tiger Woods had spent his entire life building was gone. Just like that, the sponsors left, the wife left, the image was dead, and then it got worse. Because what came after the scandal, the pills, the addiction, the moment police found him passed out behind the wheel at 2 a.m., that part barely anyone talks about. So today we're going through the whole thing, from a 2-year-old kid being put on national television by his father, all the way to one of the most painful public destructions you'll ever hear about. This is the real Tiger Woods story. Tiger's father, Earl Woods, decided his son was going to be great before Tiger could even talk. Earl was a military man, disciplined, obsessive, and from the moment Tiger picked up a golf club at 18 months old and started swinging it like he'd done it before, Earl saw something. He didn't just encourage it, he built his entire life around it. By the time Tiger was 2 years old, Earl had him on national television showing off his swing. By 5, he was playing courses that grown men struggled on. By the time he was a teenager, he was already being called the most talented junior golfer anyone had ever seen. But here's what people don't talk about enough. Golf in the 1980s and 90s was not a sport that welcomed a young black kid from California. The country clubs, the old money, the culture around the game, it was almost entirely white. And Tiger walked into all of that and didn't just compete. He made everyone else look like they were playing a different sport. When he turned professional in 1996, he was 20 years old. Nike signed him immediately for $40 million. At the time, it was the biggest endorsement deal in sports history. A year later, he won the Masters by 12 shots. 12. The closest person behind him wasn't even close. The golf world had never seen anything like it. Over the next decade, Tiger became something that doesn't really exist in sport anymore. He wasn't just the best, he was so far ahead of everyone else that people tuned in specifically to watch him win. TV ratings doubled when Tiger was in contention. Courses that were struggling financially sold out the moment Tiger entered a tournament. He had a beautiful wife, 2 kids, a mansion in Florida, 14 major championships, a billion-dollar brand. From the outside, there was nothing left to want, but the outside was a lie. The night of November 27, 2009 started like any other night in the Woods household. What happened next, nobody fully knows, and Tiger has never completely explained it. At 2:25 in the morning, his Cadillac Escalade rolled slowly out of his driveway and drove straight into a fire hydrant, then into a tree. The car sat there, windows smashed, Tiger unconscious inside. His wife Elin came out of the house with a golf club. She said she used it to break the window to help him. That was the story. A car accident, nothing more. Except the tabloids started digging, and within 48 hours, the first woman came forward saying she'd been in a relationship with Tiger for 3 years. Then another woman came forward, then another. By the time the full picture emerged, there were over a dozen women, cocktail waitresses, models, TV personalities, a secret life that had apparently been running in parallel for years, while Tiger was standing in front of cameras talking about his family. The world genuinely could not process it, because this wasn't just a famous person cheating. Tiger had built his entire brand on being clean, wholesome, the anti-scandal athlete. Nike had sold that image for over a decade, and it was all fake. Within weeks, Accenture dropped him. AT&T dropped him. Tag Heuer dropped him. Gatorade dropped him. Brand by brand, the empire started collapsing in real time. Tiger went into hiding, released a short public statement that explained nothing, then disappeared for months. When he finally came out and gave a proper public address, he stood at a podium, read from a script, and looked like a man who had already lost everything and knew it. Elin filed for divorce. She got $100 million in the settlement and took the kids to Sweden. Tiger went back to golf, won a few tournaments, tried to rebuild, but the story wasn't over. What the scandal took from Tiger wasn't just his marriage or his sponsors. It took something in him that never fully came back. He started breaking down physically, back surgeries, one after another. By 2014, he was barely able to walk properly, let alone swing a golf club at the level he was used to. And somewhere in between the surgeries and the pain and the loneliness of a life that had completely fallen apart, he started taking pills, painkillers, prescribed initially, then something he couldn't stop. In May 2017, a police officer in Jupiter, Florida, found a Mercedes pulled over on the side of the road at 2 a.m. The driver was asleep behind the wheel, engine running, completely unresponsive. It was Tiger Woods. When they got him out of the car, he couldn't stand properly, couldn't answer simple questions, had no idea what was happening around him. The police footage went everywhere. Tiger Woods' 15 majors, a billion-dollar career, the most dominant athlete of his generation being helped out of a car by a police officer on the side of a Florida road. He told police he hadn't been drinking, and he was telling the truth. The toxicology report came back showing 5 different prescription drugs in his system. He was charged with DUI, pleaded guilty, got probation and community service. And that was the image that stuck. Not the championships, not the Nike ads. That footage, that night. Tiger has spoken about that period very little. But in one rare moment, he admitted something that said everything. He said the pain, not just physical, but everything had gotten to a point where he didn't see a way through it. Think about that. The most mentally tough athlete in the world, a man trained from before he could walk to push through anything, and he had reached a point where he couldn't see a way through. That is what the real fool looks like. Not the car crash, not the divorce, not even the women. It's a man who was built into a machine by his father, sold as a symbol by corporations, worshipped by millions, and never once asked what any of it was actually doing to him. Tiger Woods didn't just lose his image, he lost himself, and by the time the world noticed, it had already been happening for years.